amazing venues here in Central Florida. First, you've already gotten a chance to meet Hannah, our wedding coordinator with Northwest Square. Then we've got Carissa Llewellyn-Burns, the director of catering at events like Dub's Dread. For those of you who don't know, they have Dub's Dread Ballroom, Highland Manor, as well as Azalea Lodge. Many things. I've got Kathy Norris, catering and sales manager at the Alphon Inn at Rollins. Kelsey Taylor, senior sales manager at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. Ooh, love that menu too. Brittany Schrader, the co-owner and director of sales at the Colonial at Sunset. So when Bree and I decided to start putting together this panel, we really wanted to make it well-rounded. So we've got everything from a hotel to privately owned to historic, all-inclusive, everybody's got different rules for different things, or city-owned or corporate-owned, and so we're really gonna dig in. I warned them all to not be too fluffy and nice to you slackers. I've told them to be real and let you all have it in the best of ways. But ultimately what we're doing here is we're really trying to learn what are those opportunities that you as a business have to be able to build great relationships to get more venue referrals. So we're gonna get started. The first question, what criteria do you look for in a preferred vendor?
So at the Dr. Phillips Center, it's important for us to find vendors who are flexible. Every single day is different. As most of you know, we are mainly a performing arts center. So we have 4 major live music venues in addition to our beautiful event spaces. So the load in and load out schedule can change daily. We have to navigate around a lot of different things happening. So flexibility and a humble approach. It might not be your first time at the venue, but it could be the first time that day. Things are different. So that's important to us.
I love that. What else? What other criteria do you guys look for?
I would say that flexibility is really important, but also creativity, because we don't always, especially here at a historic venue, we might not have outlets in every 5 feet where you think you might need an outlet. So you really have to be able to get creative with what you're doing, especially with things like lighting and different things like that for our photographers, catering, prepping where you need to prep, things like that. So I think creativity is really, really important when we're looking at vendors.
I like that. Anybody else?
A couple of things that we look for. I actually read reviews that come straight from couples. So I actually do want to hear what clients or past clients have said. So if somebody approaches me, I definitely do look at that. The second thing that I look at is, does somebody have a really authentic spirit about them? I want to know who that person is, and do they have an all-in attitude? So if we're planning for something to be outside and it's a perfect day, perfect couple, no family drama, you can be an A+ vendor. But when stuff goes sideways, which we all know that it does, I have to know that everybody has an all-in attitude to get it done.
Oh, I love that. That's a lot of snaps from the planner in case you are wondering. Last year we didn't have to get on the planner list. Same game. Say it for the people in the back. The make it happen kind of people. Do you cap the number of vendors in each category on your list, or is it different vendors, different categories? Do you have caps?
We don't have caps. I do believe that photography and DJ is our bigger categories. I just feel like there's more of them and we try to share the love, but we don't cap. The only really cap I have is we have a front and back page. I don't go over that page. It's too overwhelming. I don't make the print smaller. It is front and back page. That's it.
We also do not cap, and simply said, if we are adding someone, it's for good reason. And if we're removing someone, it's also for good reason. So very simple approach.
Oh, I can't wait to talk more about removing people. That's fun. Kathy, what about you guys at the hotel? Do you cap categories?
We don't cap categories either. We have a very large list. We've been through it a couple times just to make sure people are still in business, because sometimes they're not there anymore. Yeah, we're very flexible and open. I love to get promotional material from you as well. I know we can send out emails and Instagram things, but it's nice to have something that I can tangibly have with when a bride comes in.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. See, every venue's so different. You know what I just heard? None of them have caps, so you all have opportunity. Right? You know what I hear from all of you? Oh my God, they never accept new vendors. I want to reply to me. And I'm like, that's on you. So, what are some things that you've seen a vendor do that impressed you and made you want to add them to your list? Like specific something that was like, whoa, I want this person. I want to work with this person more.
So we just had a fashion show, and there are some people in this room that called and asked to be sponsors of ours, and they came and they did things for free for that day just to help us out. And they are on my list, and they're the first person I'm going to point to.
I love it. What else? What else has someone done to wow you?
I think a vendor that is willing to make a relationship with both the couple and the venue that they are working with. So I want them, one thing that really stands out to me is when they take time to get to know the couple that they're working with. I think that makes a really big difference for not just the couple, but for the day and how the day goes. And then doing the same thing with the venue that they're working with as well. Because if I don't know you and I can't vouch for you, I don't want you on my list.
Anything else? Anybody else wowed you with anything? No? See, that's sad. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I mean, I could give a ton of, like, well, not a ton, but a handful of good examples. So I had just had a brand new videographer who had never been out to the venue before. And instead of just passing me a business card that I don't know what I would have done with, but they ended up asking, well, he came to me and said, "Is this your email?" and had already looked it up before I shared a business card. So there was research that was done beforehand. I appreciated that. And then I got a copy of the couple's wedding video along with special drone shots, venue specific picture, like video shots of chandeliers in our space. And we all have to do social media content, even though that's not always a hat we thought we'd wear. So having that extra professional imagery was really nice.
I love that. Okay, so when you're ready to add vendors, other than coming to wedding venue map events to meet them, what is your process to look and how do you decide who gets added? You're like, oh, we could refresh the list. How do you start figuring out who you want to add?
Social media for us, we're always looking at Instagram, trying to find new people.
We're not really searching. It's more of a how many successful events have we worked on together? And then I think that that opens the door for conversation of being a preferred vendor. I personally don't like the approach of here, we've never worked together. Can I be a preferred vendor? We want to know that you can work in our venue, but also offer a variety of services for different types of events. We don't only do weddings. We want to know that your skills and your product are transferable from every type of event. Low budget, big budget, 20 people, 4,000 people. So that's important to us.
I love that. Do you guys, anyone else go looking anywhere other than Instagram or events themselves?
Yeah, we're the same way. We don't search for it, but if we come across someone that is just kind of newer to our world and it's like, wow, they did a really great job. They were professional. They were on time. They're definitely going to be considered, but there's no searching or, hey, it's time to update that list. We better get to it.
I think this question was later in the stack, but I'm going to ask it now because you've opened the door. You know, so many times I hear, I mean, I work at this venue all the time. This is what you guys sound like to me, just saying. I work at this venue all the time, and I don't understand. I'm not on their list, and I don't know what. And how do I get on the list? I do a good job, and I'm there, and so when you have vendors, right? You've got an established list. Then you've got vendors who come out and work there. Why do you not add them to the list? Just out of curiosity.
You didn't bring me cookies.
Oh shit!
No,
She's got a sweet tooth.
I do love a good bribe.
Oh, I'm here for it. Same.
No, sometimes I think for us, it's more of just we need to see a repetitive that you're always on time. It's not just, okay, you did one, you were on time, that's great. How do I know that over time you are a reliable and somebody that we can trust to take care of our couples? It's not even just us. It's, it's our couples that we're going to have to hear about. or why do you recommend that person? They weren't on time, they forgot my bouquet, whatever it may be. So it's important that we support, and have that.
Yeah.
back end.
Anybody else? Oh, Hannah's got it. Oh, yeah.
I think also just the vendors not being, or they're being scared to ask. Just ask.
Oh,
Just ask
so
us.
easy.
And a lot of the times they'll go and they'll say, "Oh, they didn't put us on the list. They didn't put us on the list." Well, you didn't ask. So I think just being able to build that confidence and build the rapport with the person that you're wanting to be on their list, I think is really, really important. And just not being afraid to ask. Well, the worst case, we're gonna say no. But you just heard all of us. We don't have caps. So why would we say no?
But don't ask if you never freaking worked there. We'll dig into that more. What?
Or you've never met us.
Or you've never met them. Don't send an email saying, "Can I be on your list?" Oh, we'll dig into that. I've got so much to say about that. What's a lesson you've learned the hard way in regards to adding somebody to your vendor list that maybe you shouldn't have? You don't have to call the vendor out, or you can if you want. No, I'm just kidding. What's like an example of someone you're like, damn, I maybe rushed it, did it too soon? Can anybody think of anything? Go ahead.
I got one.
Yeah.
There was someone that reached out to me. I met them. It was great. We did a tour. It was a wonderful experience. And then when he came for an event, he was a completely different person. I didn't know who this person was. And I immediately, in the middle of the event, told him that he would no longer be on our vendor list.
Don't send out your representative to meet with people, and then on event day, it's a different ballgame. But it happens a lot. I mean, I think especially when it's someone who's maybe in a unique category, which I know many of you are, it's easy to kind of be like, well, we don't have somebody on our list who does that. And so I've done the meeting, and they're great, but for members, I can do the presentation. I'll do it this summer. I've got a great presentation about reviews. I think reviews matter more than you know when it comes to the venue list. Because when they don't know you, like, can you give me references? Can you give me 3 other venues that I can pick up the phone and call that are gonna rave about you and rave about working with you, right? Like, if you want to set yourself apart, you gotta earn it. Okay, so speaking of, as a vendor, how can they ask about being on your list and introduce that conversation without sounding like an asshole? Like, how do they do it?
Okay, so the approach to this conversation is like, I think of my preferred vendor list as like the marriage, right? So if you haven't asked me out on a date and we aren't engaged and we had a little season that we could work together and see if we can handle conflicts and all of these things, then you can't make it on the list. And so if you go straight in for the kill, there's nothing for me to base that off of. And for that exact reason that they were just saying, I don't know every DJ on your team. I don't know every bartender that's going to show up. Yes, you as the owner, no one's going to love it like you love it. So that's definitely something that's really important. But yeah, don't go in for the preferred vendor, the all-inclusive list if we ain't gone on a date, baby. It ain't happening.
She's so much classier than me. I'm like, don't try to sleep with me if you haven't kissed me yet. I'm a little more rough around the edges, but at least the marriage example way better than mine.
At least pretend to try and get to know me. Like, don't just walk up and introduce yourself and how do you get on your list? At least try to get to know me or pretend to be my friend. That works.
Oh, hello? Okay, sorry. Oh, what is happening?
You're good.
Okay, don't slide into my DMs if I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think it's building the authentic relationship. I think Instagram is a great place to connect with vendors, and it is more than a follow, followed by 12 likes on my picture, followed by sending me a message, stunning venue. How do I get on there? Hi, how are you today? That would be a nice leading way in, but you'd be very surprised if I went through my Instagram inbox, how many of those that I do find. And I don't always write back because things are moving quickly. So that's not the approach, I would say.
I would love every venue to send me screenshots of those DMs. I'm going to use them in a presentation in Vegas. What not to do with the list. Anybody else? How can they ask? Like, what's the right way? Not in the DMs. Date me first. Okay. Specifically as an all-inclusive, who's got all-inclusive? You do. As an all-inclusive venue, yours is the hardest list to break into, right? Because you are literally curating the entire event at an all-inclusive for the couples. So how does a vendor even begin to approach becoming part of a packages, seeing as they rarely have a chance to work there? Like if the majority of what you do is all-inclusive, they wouldn't even get a shot to get to that point. So how would they approach that?
Are you just looking at me?
You're the only all-inclusive, I think.
So I do have event day, like you can rent the venue rental only. I do have that package, and I do have an open vendor policy. As long as vendors do have insurance and they sign our vendor agreement, they are welcome to come on site. So I don't totally ex-nay that, because I get creative all the time if you're working with the same people. So we do let people come in. When it comes to the all-inclusives, though, those are my tried and true. So it takes that preferred vendor list and it just narrows it down to the ones that I call, email, text, last minute, they're flexible, they're authentic, they have the all-in attitude. They've been tested to get to that point, because
Oh,
move the microphone.
that's fine.
I already being up here, so that doesn't help. But yeah, so I think that those are the ones that are the all in. So how do you get on that list? Build a relationship. I think, hey, can I come to the venue? Can I seat the space? Do you like coffee? Are you a tea person? Can I bring you something? Are you a Starbucks girl? Do you want to meet there? What does that look like? And let's have a conversation of how our services can serve to make sure we can have a relationship, and then learn how you also are going to communicate with our couples to make the whole experience. If I'm selling a stress-free experience and you're causing havoc, or you're not communicating and it's now not stress-free, that's a direct reflection back onto the venue. So I just like it to match up on both sides.
Yeah, I think communication is huge if you ever want to be in an all-inclusive. Like, as those venues that host all-inclusives are really relying on fast and furious back and forth with you to know, do you have dates available? Can I book it? Can we hold it? Because they know you work in other places and spaces too. So if you are a slow to communicate, we just had this conversation today. If you are slow to communicate, it is time to hire an admin. Get somebody's ass in the seat on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in your inbox. Spend the money to have someone, so that those emails and those reach outs from either the couples that the venues referred you, or from the venue or planners or vendors yourself, someone needs to be seeing it and handling it. Sorry, soapbox, I'm off it now. What happens if a category is not represented on your venue? Right? Like, you've got all these traditional categories, DJ, photographer, hair and makeup, but a lot of times we've got a lot of unique vendors now who do very different things that are unexpected, and coffee carts and newspapers and like all kinds of cool stuff. What's the best way to like figure out if you're willing to add a category, or how do I open the door for that?
I think if it's something tangible like newspaper, that was a great idea. Bring it to our office. Let us see it. We can put it in front of couples, see if they grab. Content creation is a pretty easy one to gauge based on social media. I think that might be one of the top ones that you can really get a feel for, because their finished product is on their page, like florals and photography. So I'm kind of putting my foot in my mouth right now. They're all out there. But yeah, just bring it to us and let us see it. And it might be something that we want to put on our list.
I think these events in general is how I've kind of added a couple new people over the years, because I've only been coming to these for like maybe 2 years or so. But anytime there was like a gelato cart, I was like, oh, that's neat and interesting. And I have a category on our list that's just like creative additions, or something that's unique. So it's just a whole separate side of the list, that it's live painting, or it might just be where I don't have 6 live features on my list. It's just something different and a unique vendor.
Yeah, I think couples today are looking for experience options. They're looking for things that are going to create, something fun and different and unexpected. And if that's something that you provide, even as a photographer or a DJ, and you've got something unique and different, that could be something that sets you apart to, fall into those places and spaces. Well, we already said no DMs, but what about someone who's never worked at your venue before and has nothing booked there? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Don't.
I was just gonna say, other than don't, but phone, email, DMs, or don't. What's the best way? Do you ever want to hear from people who? No. Okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'd be happy to hear from you. Just don't do it during season or wedding.
Oh, sexy.
I don't have time during that period, but during the summer, I'm free. Call me.
Yeah. Oh, God help the Alphonse in June 1st. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's something important to keep in mind, especially if you're a new business, a new budding, growing business, right? You've got nothing but time right now, right? It's spring and wedding season is cranking for venues that have been in business and established and things like that. But like, don't reach out to people on a Thursday or Friday. That shit blows my mind.
Don't
Like-
show up.
Oh,
on a
show up.
Thursday or Friday.
I don't know if that's on this list, but we're gonna never, ever in the history of life do you show up at a venue without an appointment.
Don't do that.
Never, ever show up.
Even if you have cookies.
Even with cookies.
Well, me.
They can leave those with security.
Yeah,
You-
oh,
leave,
yeah.
leave the cookies at security.
You can leave the snacks there. You can, but it's just ultimately you've got to remember too, as much email that you have as a successful, business or a growing business is as much email as they have. They're working the same amount of leads and clients and things like that. On an average week, I counted twice at the venue I worked at, and in 1 week I received 17 vendor requests. I just hit delete because I don't have time. I already don't have time to get through my inbox. It's not that I don't like you and I'm not interested, but no sliding in. Yeah.
I will say if you are not at a venue, you haven't been booked there, one thing that I do find helpful is some people love style shoots, some people hate them. I like them for the simple aspect of getting to collaborate. I believe in collaboration. That's a big thing for me. If we can collaborate, and really by we, I don't really want to do it anymore because I used to be a planner, okay? I know. But I will say if you can say, hey, I know we're in July, but I know Christmas is coming. Are you gonna have holiday parties? Can we do a Christmas style shoot here this summer so you have advertisement, you have content when December rolls around? Oh, you got creative. You thought about something. That's a direct need that I could use and also you. So think a little bit outside the box of how you can provide a service that is helpful to a venue and to yourself in your own business.
I'm going to make an entire reel of bad vendor emails reaching out to venues. I'll delete the offenders, but I think it's wild the amount of times a venue gets an email that is a one sentence that says, "Hi, how do I get on your preferred vendor list?" You guys have no idea. All the time, right? So if someone was reaching out, so let's pretend like you are going to delete 99% of them. Okay? If someone in this room were going to send an email that was, even Kathy, when you're slow in the summer and you have time to meet with them, what would you want to see in that email? Or what would be like, whoa, that's something different that like, I want to meet with this person? What's anything they could put in that email to set themselves apart?
I love the idea that you were saying have the style shoots, have something that I can use as well as they can use. And I'd love to see, whatever creative ideas they have.
Yeah, I like it. Anybody else? Could anybody say anything that would make you want to actually read their email?
Not that everybody needs to do this, but I've had some great vendors reach out and be like, hey, I'd love to offer taking some photos of your venue. I'd love to offer, next event that you have, I play some music there, things like that. I'm not saying you have to give away free stuff. I'm just saying opening the door to letting us know like you want to work with us is really, really important.
Yes, you do have to give away free stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to
Yeah, but why would anyone refer you if they haven't done business with you? Right. Why would anyone want to put their name on you if they've never worked with you and seen you and experienced your services, right? So like, you don't have to give away a a 5-hour prime Saturday free wedding, but I know a wedding planner over in Texas, and she has this massive company, and she still to this day builds relationships with venues by doing day of coordinating, month of, wedding day management, whatever you guys call it this week. She does one for free for every venue that she builds. So let me show you what my team will do. So you pick a wedding in the next 8 to 12 weeks that needs a set of hands, and let me come in and show you how good we are, and I'll come and do it totally for free. And I mean, that shows me how good you are and how bad you want it. What?
I say send me your toughest client.
Oh, send me your toughest client. Yeah, that's nice. The worst ones. Just kidding. Some venues weed those out. Okay, so let's talk about that. Now I'm booked at an event. I've booked a wedding at your property. I'm definitely not on the list. Maybe it's my first time. What's something that vendors could do before the event day to stand out?
If you've never been to our venue, schedule a site visit. Who has been to the Dr. Phillips Center?
God. She's beautiful.
Who has been personally attacked by our load-in schedule and path of travel from the loading dock? Yes, we get it. It's challenging. We understand that. And like I said, the schedule changes. We're not trying to be difficult. Schedule a site visit. Let's walk the path of travel. Let's look at the space, and let's really get a good grip on what you're going to expect day of, because the last thing we want to do is put out fires when we have a Broadway show in one theater, we have an orchestra in the other, and then we're walking across the front of house to get you to the event space. So come for a visit.
What else could somebody do beforehand that would wow you?
I would love for you guys to get your COIs to me without me asking and begging.
Oh, sorry.
That would be awesome.
We'll say that again for the people in the back. You have insurance. The venues want your COI. The minute they sign the contract, send the COI. Like contract signed, send it and say, would you like me to add you as, here's my generic one. Would you like me to add you as an additionally insured? Do not wait until the venue asks you. You take one takeaway today. That is life-changing for every venue. I was hoping you'd say it. What else? What else could people do beforehand that would be a wow? Anything? Who's wowed you?
I think just as a wedding planner, not having to reach out to you first. I've had vendors that reach out to me, hey, I booked a wedding at your event space and I'd love to get to know you and what your venue represents. I think that is really important, instead of me emailing you and be like, hey, you're the DJ, you're the photographer, you're this or that at my event. I don't know you. Can you tell me a single thing about yourself? But having them reach out first is really good.
Yeah. That's an easy thing that of the venues that you already are booked at, that you can do that pre-reach out. Okay, so let's talk about on event day. Okay, so they've maybe sent their COI, they've come to do a tour, they've gotten to know you. Event day is here. What can I do on event day that would wow you?
Show up on time.
Oh my, on time. We're talking the basics here, my friends.
Basics on time, your florist, make sure you have everything that the client purchased. Bouquets, all that fun stuff.
So provide the service you contract.
The service contract.
I know.
Please surprise.
I know. What else? What else could somebody do on event day that makes you feel like, yeah, these are our people? Anything else?
Be cheerful and personable.
Yeah.
It's always nice to walk in with people that are happy and glad they're there.
Yeah. It can be a stressful day for all of us in different ways, so have a good attitude. Okay, what about after the event? The event's over, it's done. What can they do? Oh, yes, Carissa! Carissa came locked and loaded.
For the love of God, send us your photos. It is amazing to me how many photographers that we reach out to saying, hey, can you send us the photos from this wedding? And we never hear, we're ghosted by them. It's amazing to me. That is free advertising and marketing for you, putting it on our social media as well. So I would just say in general, photographers after the fact, and if you give me an email that says, here are the photos and this is the list of vendors, woo, I get so you're doing all the legwork for me?
I love it. What else could somebody do after an event that would be wow?
Get your stuff and get going.
Yeah, pack it up and get out.
My people have to stay and wait for you to get your stuff out. So please pack out, take everything with you. I don't want to collect it the next morning and have to call you and let you know you left a light or something there.
Believe it or not, like drinking during an event, I've seen vendors that have drank during an event. That's not someone that I want to put on my list. Flirting with bridal party members. Also, hey, I'm just throwing out things I've seen.
It's true.
These things happen. And so if you're always watching, you're in control of that preferred vendor list. Where's your attention at? I don't know, I'm just saying.
Not saying it because it doesn't happen.
I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true.
And if you drink at a wedding, your liability insurance is null and void. FYI. FYI. So, have you ever had a vendor write you Google reviews?
Oh,
And does that get you excited?
yes. No, yeah. No, it is really helpful. We've had networking events and people do leave reviews, and those are ones I look at. And honestly, we just hosted an open house at our venue 2 weeks ago. And some of the people that were actually selected were completely outside of our list. They have shot there before many times, but they have not made it onto our list. And when we've had people that applied or sent in their information that they were available, they were the ones that got the spot because they did take that extra step to put that Google review on.
Yeah, it's so easy, right? If you get the images and the photos and things, it's so easy for you after to write them a Google review and talk about your experience with their team. We all need more reviews, right? And then the couples read it. So you could not be on the list, but you've written a review about your experience working that venue. And to the couples, I'm not talking to them for a second, I'm talking to you. The couples then think you work there all the time. Dirty. I know, sorry. Okay, so sharing the list. You've got this list. Every venue is totally different on how, where, when, why they share the list. So when and how do you provide the vendor list to couples? I'll make all of you answer that one. Yeah, sure.
It really depends on the couple, if I'm being honest. So I have couples that come in and they say, I have all my vendors except for venue. I know what I want. I don't need anything. Okay, I'm not going to waste their time, my time, anything like that. But during the tour, I always ask, do you have a DJ? Do you have a photographer? Do you have an officiant? Do you have a bar? Do you have this? Do you have that? I want to know what they've already booked, because then that also sets up what their standards are. Because if it's a company I know and I like, I'm like, oh, okay, they like good vendors. That's good. And so really, I guess it just depends on when the couple broaches the topic, but I always hit first with, what vendors have you booked? And what can I tell you about a DJ or a photographer or an officiant or whoever?
Yeah, and even people, a lot of times they're doing a ton of pre-research before they book the venue. So maybe they haven't signed the contract yet with you, but they may have you already picked out in their heads. What about you, Carissa?
Yeah, we're pretty much the exact same way. I would say either at the tour or when they book.
Yes. Perfect. How do you share the list?
So I have print material that is available on a tour. I don't always give it out. It depends how that conversation goes. I'm pretty big into conversations. You kind of know if they're going to book or they're not going to book, or if their eyes were this big when you go over price. Like, you just kind of can feel it out. So if I feel like their chances are, I will give it. If they ask or we're talking about vendors, the all-inclusive they only get after they book, because I don't want them going in and price shopping each vendor individually and then trying to add up all the price. It just becomes a nightmare. So I don't share the all-inclusive until after they book, but I do tell them that the ones that are on our preferred list is just a more narrowed down version.
At the Alphon, we require a wedding planner, and most of the time our brides are getting their vendors from the planners. However, they do ask us occasionally, and we do have the list that we'll mail out. I have been asking some people for their brochure that I enjoy working with and that I think their product is really superior, and I'll put that in my packet when I meet with brides, but it's usually if they request it, then I send it.
All right. Well, ours is a little different. We send it hyperlinked as soon as someone actually reaches out to even book our venue. So if they booked you and didn't book us, you're welcome. No, and then we give it to them again when they come for their site visit after they've booked, as just a reminder, because it could have got lost in their inbox. We know that they're filling out a bunch of forms with all the different venues. So send it again when they're there.
I love it. We answered all that. Do you, other than just kind of like sending them a list or giving them a list of names, do you promote your vendor partners in any other ways? Oh,
I do have like an email list that I've been like curating since we opened. And so those all inclusive vendors and some of our preferred who come out often, or if there's a new gallery or there was one of those cool services that we want to see more often or something trending, that does get circulated out in an email. We will ask vendors questions about their business, how they got started, what they specialize in, and we do send that out via email.
Yeah, and we have a blog on our website as well that we feature, and we do vendor spotlights and stuff like that, as well as, of course, social media and sharing photos and unique things that pop up at the
when you
video.
blog your vendors, do you backlink them?
Yes.
I got you, Sarah.
I clearly don't do the website part. but somebody that we hired does.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It gets done. It's not about you doing it. It gets done.
It gets done.
It gets done. So for those of you who don't know a whole lot about that, many businesses we talk to are always trying to rank higher on Google. When someone searches Orlando wedding DJ, they want to rank as high as they can. One of the biggest factors that comes into play is other people linking back to your site. So like when you join Wedding Venue Map, we give you that link back because we rank amazing. So it's like I'm giving you a little tiny bit of my Google juice to kind of boost you all the way through. And so when your venue partners do that on their site, or even build a page on the back of their site with that backlink for you, that's like a really big benefit, probably bigger than you realize how much that could potentially help you. So I had a feeling you did that. You also host open houses.
Yeah.
So that's another way.
That is one thing I'd like to mention, because even if we don't first, like you said, with the dating and the marriage, to me, open houses is that nice kind of like baby step, tiptoe in the water. Like if I meet you at one of these events and I can kind of tell who you are as a person, I might invite you to open house. You can book weddings from that open house, and then eventually I'm like, okay, you've done X amount of weddings with us, you're always professional, you've done great for us, then you're going to be on our list. So it's almost like this process, but open house is a huge part of that.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so now we're on the list. If you've worked hard enough and done all these things they've told you, now we got to talk about how do I stay on the list, because there's so much hungry talent coming behind those of us who Bree has coined golden oldies in the industry. Me being one of them, right? Those of us who've been around a long time, we've got spots on lists and we're holding on by a thread sometimes, because there's newer companies that are coming up that are fresher, faster, better at social media than we are, maybe less expensive. So do you have standards that you hold vendors accountable for? And like, what are they? Like, what are those standards that they have to abide by to be able to stay on the list?
Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
That seems so easy.
I think consistently providing a great service. I mean, the more work you cause me, the less likely I am to, stick my neck out for you. Or I shouldn't have to defend you to my couples, like that I'm not interested.
I would say the same thing when it gets to the point where we're having to defend vendors and defend your busyness, defend your on events. It just gets really tough. And then when just the communication thing is huge. Trust me, the couples are going to tell us if there's something that you guys do, we're going to know, because again, it's that direct reflection. So they come usually to us first before they even address it with you. So that would be the biggest thing. The other part is once you're on the list, that's only half the battle. Because while they have that, not everybody looks at the print material. If you get a business card, do you keep it? If you get a handout, do you always keep it? Maybe not. So if you are on that list, explaining what your service is to the people who are selling your service is going to be huge. If I know kind of an idea, a lot of what we do is educating clients on your service. But as a venue, we're educating on a lot of different, well, which one would you go with? Well, which one's your favorite? I don't play favorites, but I like to hear what couples have to say. And if there's something that they mention that they want, and I know that that's something that would be a direct fit, I can now directly guide them to you, which is more than any list could ever do. So once you make it on that list, sit down with the person, the salesperson who is selling your service, and let them know what the heck you do.
Yeah, and I want to touch on the fact that sometimes, as somebody who worked at a venue where one team sold and one team serviced, I mean, I loved how much vendors kissed my ass and brought me presents. I wasn't the one. I wasn't the one who did the referring. It was our coordination team, right? So you've got to also know who is the person and the player. It's not always just the director of sales or the salesperson if they're not servicing. I mean, we would kind of touch on vendors, but I wasn't the person spending the time with them consistently and constantly. And I think the hardest part about working in the wedding industry and in categories of people, categories of vendors and businesses, that there's so many people who might do what you do. You have got to know what makes you different. You have got to be super clear. If you are a photographer and you have a style, lean in and educate the venues. What's your style? Who's your client? Because the couples are coming to the venue and using the words. They're like, I want to party all night. I want to have a DJ that doesn't say a word on the microphone. I want somebody who's going to lead the charge and do dances out on the dance floor. They're going to tell the venue that. So making sure you take that time, like she said, to educate the venue who you are, how you do it, and what makes you different is so freaking important. Any other way that people, like, that you try to hold them accountable or they can stay there? Okay, good. Next. How often do you review and update the list?
Probably once a year,
Yeah, like as needed.
as needed.
That's fair. That means you better be awesome. What's the best way to ask if you're on the list or not? That's always a dirty, because you guys don't publish that list where anybody can see it. So you're like, I'm working there a lot, but am I working there because the venue's referring me? Am I working there because I tag their Instagram a lot? Like, so how does someone say to you without just saying, or they should just say, how do they figure out if they're on your list or not?
I say just ask, but also if you have to ask, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You should know.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Like we should be having so much communication that you know you're on the list. There should be no question of, I don't know, I feel like I'm on the list, but they haven't directly told me. No, we'll tell you. Yep, you'll know for sure.
And I think, too, you can also ask the couples who are reaching out to you. Like, if someone's reaching out to you for a service at a specific venue, you can say, how did you hear about us? None of you asked that question. Not none. That's dramatic. We're not talking in full. Many of you don't ask that question. But in 2025, marketing is a layered approach. There is no more direct line because the venue will tell them about you, and then guess what they do? They go read your reviews, they go to your Instagram, they go to your website, they've bounced around, they followed you, then they come back around and are like, oh yeah, I found you on Google. It's awful, right? So it's really hard with all the marketing you're doing to know, but I feel like when someone gets a direct referral saying, they will say, Bree told me to reach out to you, or, Shannon said I should call you. Like, they'll tell you if you ask that question. It won't be Google and Instagram. Okay, so with the turnover at venues, oh, this is sexy. With the turnover at venues, what suggestions do you have for my company to maintain the rapport with the new contact? So they've taken all this time, done all the things, and now the venue person leaves. right? You've got all these relationships built and then that person leaves. How do I do I have to start all over again? What should I do at that point?
I hope to never leave.
Well, that's lucky at your venue, but that's not how the world works.
So we're at like a family-owned venue, so if I'm gone, something's wrong. But no, I think it all goes back to that relationship. If you build a relationship with a venue and with a person, if you're there, you're going to continue to be booked, hopefully for a little while on there while the switchover is happening. And then you continue to build relationships with that person. Sit down with them again, tell them about your services again, and build relationship. I think that's a lot of what we do.
Yeah, you got to go back on that first date.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe don't kiss me yet. No, but it's hard, right? It's very common in the hotel world, right? There's turnover a lot when it comes to hotels. So Kathy, when you stepped in at the Alphon, do you look at the current list? Do you clean house and bring in your own people? What does that look like?
Well, I did just walk into the Alphon probably 2 years ago. And no, I kept the list and just tried to build a relationship with the people who were there. Relied a lot on my banquet team to tell me who was good and who wasn't. And we've kept it and added to it, reviewed it, got rid of the dead weight, and we're just going to revamp it again this summer.
Oh, we're talking about that. The dead weight's coming. But I think the most important thing that I heard out of that, if you missed it, is the little people sometimes. It's the banquet staff, the people who have consistently been there when you're looking at things like hotels and other properties and things like that. At Mission Inn, Carol had been a banquet captain for almost longer than I had been alive when I worked at that property. She could tell me every vendor, your family, your kids, your whatever. She knew your entire life. So when we came in, I was like, Carol, who do we like and who do we not like? And she's like, we hate this photographer. He's always late. He screws my food time. I'm like, let's get him off the list. She was like, really? The person before you loved them. I'm like, I could care less. I don't even know who that is. They're gone, right? But you've got to take care of and be kind to not only the person in this role, but all of the people that are on site on event day. Okay. So how can they give back? They're on your list. They want to, show their appreciation. So how can your preferred vendors give back to you to continue to earn the referrals?
I think giving back to the couple is the most important part. So offering discount codes, coupons. You book us through this venue, then you're going to get a free service, a engagement book or a wedding book or an album, or I'll throw in uplights, or something that makes the couple feel like they're special and that they're getting the best service that they could get from you is the most important thing to me. Because yeah, I like free stuff, but it's not about me. It's about them. So doing what is going to be most beneficial for my couple is how you're going to be A+ on my list.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Mine is similar, but more about just continuing to provide that great service. We are there for the same goal. We have the same end goal in mind. So we just want everybody to be happy and give them exactly what they hired you for.
And kind of on the same level as well, we have some wedding planners that if you're an Alphon bride, you'll get a discount. And so, of course, we're going to recommend them because they're recommending us. So,
yeah, and sometimes that's a discount. Sometimes it's a value add, right? What is a service you provide that you can give them something extra? Maybe you don't have the margins if you're a florist and catering and things like that in today's world, especially with the unpredictability of the costs right now. Like maybe you can't just discount it, but what can you do? How can you think as your own business, what can I offer and add that doesn't cost me much? Right? If somebody says, oh, I really like a venue like this with this stage, there should be a guaranteed 4 uplights at a bare minimum. If somebody books here, maybe they can't afford to uplight the whole space in the whole room, but if you're coming as the DJ bringing 4 lights, I mean, I know you have to bring a case. unplug them, put them down, and press the button. Do the thing, right? So what are the things that in your business are something that doesn't cost you a whole lot? So what are those things you can do? So, but we do know that thank you gifts are sometimes a nice thing too. What's the best thank you referral gift you've ever received? Have you ever gotten a good thank you gift that you were like, ooh, that was nice? Wine? We know what Carissa likes.
Wine, gift cards.
Gift cards are nice.
I had someone get me like a $200 massage.
Ooh. Sexy, sexy. Anybody else got anything good? No?
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a decor company who I had worked with pretty often and provided like a ton of installs that I would get them the jobs for. So they were moving warehouses and they told me like, meet us here, wear comfy clothes. I'm like, all right, buckle up. I have an all-in attitude. I'm helping them move warehouses. I didn't Google the address. That was my first mistake. But when I got there, it was like a spa and I had a full facial and like the head spa that was pre-booked for me. They told me be here at this time, dress comfy. I'm like, all right, we're moving stuff, and we were not. So that was a really nice surprise.
Oh, see, that's nice. That little surprise and delight, right? Something a little bit different and creative and to show your appreciation. Okay, we're ripping them off the list. They have either screwed up, not been there. I know of a few venue members we have that they actually track how much their couples book their list, meaning they give them a list and there's 10 photographers on there and they track all year long how many times those 10 photographers work there. And if 2 people have never been chosen by their couples, they take them. It's not like they did anything wrong. They just don't, they take them and refresh the list. So when you take someone off your list, do you tell them?
No, because I don't have time for that. Sorry, but I love y'all to death. I love the service you provide. We provide meals for our vendors while they're working their events. We love you guys. Don't get me wrong, but as far as priority list, if I have 5 emails in my inbox and one of them's from you, sorry, you're last. You're last on the priority list. Love you, mean it.
Does anybody else tell them when they're not on the list anymore?
If they piss me off,
Ooh.
yeah, they need to know. They need to know that what they did was not great. Because how are they going to get better? And maybe a year later they come back and they say, hey, that advice was really good. I appreciate what you said and I've grown. Can I come back on your list? I'll give you the chance.
You know what I love about the next generation? Their balls are as big as mine. It's true. I say it from the best, like the most respect, is that most venues are like, I don't really care. I don't care enough. You all either love me or hate me for the fact that if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think. You should prepare yourself because it's coming, but there's a lot of opportunity for you to grow and get better, right? So have you ever seen a vendor, or has this ever happened to you, that the week after an event, they reach out and ask, how did I do? Is there anything I could have done different, better? Any way I could have been more helpful? Has that ever happened to you before? Oh. What an easy thing for you to put into your workflow. For the Monday after an event to reach out and just send I really enjoyed working your venue. Is there anything, because maybe Kathy wasn't on site that day, maybe it was somebody else on her team who was there. Is there anything we could have done different, better? We'd love the opportunity to be able to grow. There's a lot of times too, as your business grows and you have multiple people going out and doing jobs, whether it's multiple hair and makeup artists and whatever, you don't know what they did. Bree knows she does anything, anywhere, anytime, you all rat her out in 52 seconds, right? But like, not every venue is gonna wanna share that. And so you have no idea. We had a vendor at the hotel that consistently wore jeans to deliver, and they were a drop and go vendor, but our food and beverage director it was not okay. And I said, ooh, well, we've never set a standard. We've never set the standard of what people should wear. So before you rip them off the list, I feel like we should give them the chance to like be able to do that. But as far as he was concerned, he didn't care, they were done. But I was really in charge, so I just did whatever I wanted as usual. But It could be as simple as that. So taking that time after an event to ask, what could we have done better, different, more? It could be greenery got left everywhere. Your DJ took too long to break down. You have no idea, but ask for the feedback because that's how you grow. That would be impressive, right? Yeah. Lazy ass. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. Okay, so when you all registered, we got a lot of questions, many questions to add. We covered as many of them as we could within. So I'm going to wrap up with some of those questions. Some are category specific, some are general. So what are your thoughts on venues charging preferred vendors to be on their list? Stop it. People do it. We're the only freaking market in the country left that doesn't do it. Go ahead.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It is a relationship. It's a genuine bond between the venue. Do not recommend. Absolutely no.
I know. It's wild, though. In Miami, that's the standard. It's whose palms can you grease to get on that list. No, but it's across the country, so you guys need to know that there's the potential of this continues to expand. It is growing market to market to market. Because the venues spend they spend probably 5 times what you spend for marketing to get those leads in the door. Like their advertising costs are quadruple, and so it's very popular. I don't agree with it. I think we're spoiled in this market because you actually have to be good. Can't just pay your way onto the list.
Well, how do you kick them off? Are you in a contract? That's where that gets dicey.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is slimy. I'm here for it. No, I'm just kidding. So how do you make sure that the people on your list are licensed, insured, and permitted? Do you go that far to actually ask and collect all of that? Like, no. That's a great question, but no. But like, how do you make sure, are you triple checking all of that with every vendor that steps foot on your property?
We are, yes.
Yeah.
We do ask for the COI. Yeah, you need it before you come. Would love for you to do it before I have to ask.
Everybody in this room, that's your biggest change you make.
To be honest, it is like the bane of my existence, but it is really important. And so now I have someone who does that part for me, but it's a hassle. We have the spreadsheet, we track all of it. We do like vendor agreements and COIs. We keep it on, we flip them every single year. There's new vendor agreements, new things added in there. So getting those signed and sent back, it is really important.
Yeah. There's a venue here in Central Florida, some of you will know that they now have a required list, and if you go off list for every single category, the couples have to pay, and they have to pay a lot of money because the amount, the venue themselves had to hire a 40-hour-a-week full-time employee to chase COIs because they weren't getting them from you guys, and they were like, we're done spending money on employing someone to get paperwork, so we're just gonna limit the list. So please send in your COIs. Thank you so much. Let's see. We talked about that. Oh, in your opinion, can a vendor ever be too persistent when trying to connect with you? Do you appreciate consistent follow-ups, or is there a point where it starts to feel pushy?
Yeah. I would say after one time, it's pushy. Sorry. Well, if you've emailed and I've either responded or something, and then you keep following up every week, or if you're, I don't know, somehow you randomly got my phone number and start texting me, then yeah, we have a problem.
Yeah, that's not going to help you.
That's not going to help you at all.
Does it all feel pushy, or does persistence matter at all?
I mean, I think persistence is important, and there's multiple people are running Instagram accounts. So if you send a DM, it could be missed by the person that needed to see it. So I think it's a difference between sending a DM and then being like, I also sent you an email, you didn't write me back. And then you're like, whoa, okay, now you're stalking me. But it could just be coming up with authentic reasons to talk to them, and touch points is really helpful, I think.
What's the preferred method of communication? Do emails get buried in your inbox? Would you rather be contacted by DMs, or if someone pick up the phone and call? What's the best place for them to reach out to you? Other than don't. I know. Email?
Yeah, I would say email.
Yeah.
Email.
Yeah. If you want me to see it, doesn't mean I don't delete it. We talked about that. We talked about that.
Can I
Yeah, go.
Okay, so if somebody does email, I do personally try to give a common courtesy to write them back to say I received it, but I'm super overwhelmed right now. We're in the middle of season, but like when it gets into slow season, reach back out. Do you know how many people don't reach back out? It's the follow up. So I know we're talking about like when is it too much, but if it's like, hey, right now we are in busy season, come summer, it's a lot slower. You should call in the summer and try to make that happen. I think that is important.
Yeah, that was my patented blow off move at the venue. Everybody who reached out, even if I was interested in meeting them, I'd be like, oh, we're slammed this month. Can you reach out next month? 92% never replied. I was like, when? I didn't have to meet with them. They didn't want it that bad, right? So, like, if you send that and someone actually replies to you, which is a freaking win to begin with, you better snooze that email or put it on your calendar to follow up again. Don't just forget about it, because that is someone taking the time in whatever you sent, you impressed them enough to want to reply. She's generous. I didn't reply to most. Okay, so this question was specific from the content creator category. What are you looking for when it comes to content or photo delivery? A content creator comes out, shoots an event. What would be helpful for you from that?
The content.
Of
No.
what? But like what kinds? Like what
Like,
are you looking for?
I-
B-roll? Like
Yeah.
a recap video?
Probably a little bit of both. If there was one that could just be like a quick snippet that could be used, it takes the time off of me having to recap either the event or what my spaces look like. I do read the wedding venue map report, okay? And I know that for a venue specifically, couples are wanting to see what the actual space looks like, not just the couples in the picture. Okay. Oh, you're welcome. But I do think that that's really important. So if you are a photographer, video, content, any of those things, if you can get the shots of the venue, then the venue books and you're more likely to sell.
Yeah, so what she's saying is in the venue report we just did,
Yeah.
and it's the most epic fail on venue Instagrams, truly, is, and we just did a wedding show on Sunday with 800 brides there. The amount of times I tried to pull up a venue's Instagram to show them, and it was nothing but pictures of people. And I'm like, but what does the space look like? Give me the empty room shot. What does the ceremony space look like, right? So making sure you're capturing that specifically for the venues is super duper helpful. Would you prefer a content creator just collab with you so you can just accept and be done, or would you rather have them send you a file of the content? Just asking.
If they were already on site or if they're one.
Yeah, no, they've already shot. They've already shot. They're coming out shooting. They've shot the content. Would you rather have a folder of here you go, or when they post it on Instagram, invite you to collaborate?
I don't like the invite to collaborates because it messes with my grid, and I'm pretty specific about that. So I don't like the collaboration reels unless it just happens to fit in the color scheme or what's going on. So personally, I would rather a video or the B-roll footage with giving credit to the content creator, of course.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to see from a content creator? Nope. Okay. This is from a planner. How do you feel about building a planner into your venue? Like building them into the package versus just referring it out? Oh.
I don't like the responsibility of that. If the vibe of the planner and the couple, they don't mesh well, they don't jive well, I don't want to be responsible for a bad relationship. So we are not matchmakers. We want them to go out and find the person who is going to make all their dreams come true.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I want them to have their own personality and have a different dream or vision of their time.
Yeah.
As a wedding planner who's built into the venue, I love it. Because it is how I'm employed, right? I think that it has advantages and disadvantages because, like they all said that every couple is going to want something different, right? But finding a planner like me who is very well-rounded and able to communicate and get along with 99% of the people. I have fired brides before because sometimes you have to. And sometimes they've said to me, hey, I don't really like this vibe that you're giving. And I've said, oh, okay, let me not have that vibe anymore. And it's a simple fix. So I think it's really important. Um, it is, just don't be that if that's not what they like. Um, so I think it's really important because it gives them a one-stop shop. It crosses off something off their to-do list, and it makes it so much easier for them, the couple, so they don't have to be like, okay, I got the venue. Now I have to find a wedding planner, that knows the venue, that's going to take the time to get to know the venue. I know the venue better than anybody else. You're not going to find anyone that knows the venue better than I do. So I think that is a really big advantage of having someone that lives and breathes the venue all the time.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Yeah. She's like, nope, have a good day. Okay. I love the photographers who submitted 467,000 questions. I've got it narrowed down to my top favorites. What are the top things you wish photographers knew or did differently when working at your venue? Photography specific. What do you wish they did different?
Send us the photos.
Okay, send us outside of sending the photos. Anything else they can do?
Doing a site visit, like we mentioned, but knowing, okay, if I have a couple getting married at 4 p.m., what does the lighting look like? Obviously, they're professionals, they can make it work, but getting to know the venue, what does the lighting look like? Where are the best spots? Asking the wedding planner or the venue owner or the manager, hey, what have you seen in the past? Where do you love to hang the dress? Where do you love to have the guys stand for, whatever this is? So I think just getting to know the venue is really, really important.
At the Alfont, we only do one bride a day, but we do have wedding blocks. So there may be another bride there. And I feel like sometimes I have to go ask the same photographers, can you get out of my space? Go to your venue? And because my brides are paying a lot of money for our lawn and, their flowers are out there, and just know where you're working and be aware.
I like it. Oh, photographers, we love you. Would you be open to a complimentary style shoot? I know we talked about that a little bit. So let's dig in a little bit about would you want a photographer to do a styled shoot at your venue to give a sense of their work and style in your space? Would that be helpful?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Easy. Done. Do you add oh, this is sexy. Do you add vendors only in specific low price range or pricing that's not influential? Do you consider price range for photography specific when you add people to your list?
I don't even know vendors' pricing. I don't even know.
Same.
And actually, sorry, I want to throw out.
Yeah, use
I
my.
actually had a vendor because we have 3 venues. We have Highland Manor, we have Historic Dubstred, and we have Azalea Lodge. I had invited. Thank you. Sorry. I had invited someone to participate in an open house at Azalea Lodge, and they responded with, "Well, we're more of the Highland Manor price range." So they turned down my free offering of advertising, and that was a huge turnoff. I took them off the list immediately because to me, like I said, I don't know your pricing, whatever, but all of our couples, it's the same everywhere. I don't see
These
that.
couples are wild. We were at the wedding show on Sunday, and they will pick a $10,000 photographer at a $1,500 venue. And you're like, what is happening right now? Right? So it's about what they prioritize. So no matter what your price point is, you have an opportunity to work at any venue because couples of all shapes, sizes, and dollar amounts get married at venues. Sometimes they book a super high-end, beautiful, stunning, expensive venue, and they end up what we in the industry and the venue education space call venue poor. They just blew all their budget on the venue because they fell in love with it and they had to have it. So they're maybe looking for some affordable options, or they book an affordable venue like Azalea Lodge so they can blow it out in other categories. So don't be too much. A lot of times even when our members reach out about connecting with venues, they're like, well, I don't ever want to work at a barn. Let me tell you something, you a-holes. There's 94 barns in Central Florida. 94. If you knock barns off the list, there's great barns. There's cool, funky, modern barns like the Black Barn. Like there's so many barn styles out there. Stop being so judgy about style and the style of client. don't just make assumptions that that's who gets married there. Sorry, I'll get off the barn high horse.
I could go on that one
Yeah.
for a while because we do invite all of our couples, even if they're not getting, if they even just booked our catering, we invite them to open house to try our food, to talk to other vendors, to find a photographer, to find everyone. So they're not even venue specific. And then to me, it's also to build that vendor relationship, and that's the kind of, you know, vibe you want to give off to me. Like that's.
Yeah, I like to ask photographers that you should know the booking times available at the venue, because you selling a package that's way outside of when they've paid to be there and be on site, number one. And number two, following the actual timeline. Can you please not screw my food because you're taking too long to take pictures? Right? Like, you've got to make it happen within the time that you have, or you throw off everyone else. So, like, that is, hair and makeup clapping in the front. Same problem. Same problem with hair and makeup sometimes, right? Like, when the timeline is off for the day, you have screwed everyone behind you, behind your category. So, but photography, that happens, we banned many a photographer from my venue.
I love you, Anna. You're great.
Yeah, we'll keep you. Yeah, no, we had a photographer who once told the couple, don't get back on the golf cart because they'll try to take you back. And I was like, we've been out here for 75 minutes. We gotta go. Like, it's time. And I was like, this person will never work here again. Never. We put them on the banned list. What makes you want to refer a florist? Floral. What makes you want to refer a florist? Anybody? Or just don't refer them? I'm just
I like really creative, fun, interesting floral, but that's just me personally.
Yep.
I also like the ones that want to help you when you need floral for something else, you know, another event that's maybe hotel sponsored, that they're willing to jump in. Yeah.
Anything else a florist can do?
I think offering multiple options, like I've had florists be like, oh, I only do hand-tied bouquets, that's it, you're getting nothing else. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's not what my bride wants, so bye. So I think just being able to offer multiple options, pocket square boutonnieres, regular boutonnieres, wrist corsages, pin corsages, just different types of things like that are really helpful.
Yeah, and I think with floral, it's time to start getting trendy, right? Like, what are the next couples, what is the next generation asking for? Because they're spending all their time on TikTok and Instagram scrolling through to get inspired. And what are you doing? And do you speak their language? When you say pocket squares, I know what you're talking about, but many a florist doesn't, right? So it's making sure that you're staying ahead for your category, like what's coming, what's the cool stuff that people are asking for. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. And just one simple thing or something that you want to make sure you give the vendors in this room with a piece of advice that could strengthen a relationship, build a relationship, that you're like, I don't want to get off this stage without making sure they know this. Even if you've already said it, say it again for the people in the back.
You just said it, following the timeline. That is so, so important. As a venue and a wedding planner, I don't put that together for shits and giggles. I want it to actually be followed. I understand we can maybe budge 10, 15 minutes. Fine. I built that time in though. I built that time in. So just follow it. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
Do I follow that?
Yeah. Microphone to your mouth.
Oh gosh. I know, but I forget what I was gonna say.
You can pass it and come back.
For me personally, I lead with authenticity. So I like people to meet me where I'm at on that and build a relationship. So I do want to sit down and design with the decor companies. I do want to see what florists are capable of. I do want to know your services, because the more that I know, the more that I can sell your services. And by selling your services, you make my venue look better. So then I sell more and you sell more. And it's just this constant rotation. So I think think building the relationship and telling what your service is, and having that all-in attitude. If you're stressed, like my mom from the time I was little, is like, if you're having a bad day, you just don't let anybody else know it. And sometimes you have to leave stuff at the door. And so for me, leave stuff at the door. If it is raining cats and dogs, like, it is what it is. Put your raincoat on, put your rain boots on, buckle up, Buttercup. We're in it for the long haul. So I
Buckle up, Buttercup.
I don't know. That's just what I just want, somebody that's all in. And so if you can prove that to me, and I can see it on site, and I see that you're all in the way I'm all in, then we're going to be a good little family.
I want somebody who's going to make it easier for me. Thus, you get me the COIs in advance. You get me any requirements you have in advance. That way, I can put it out to my people in advance, and everything is perfect for when you walk in the door.
I'm gonna sound like a country song, but just be humble, be kind, leave the entitlement at the door. I don't care how many events you've done, how many times you've been here, who lets you do this, who lets you do that. I don't care. Same goal. Let's all work together. Let's make everybody happy, and let's get this shit done.
You gotta go.
No, I know.
I know. You gotta go. You gotta go.
I think my main thing is, if as long as your goal in mind is to provide a great service to your couples, the vendor list stuff to me will follow. I don't want that to ever be a conversation that we have. I never want you to bring that up to me. I want you to prove to me that you provide a great service for my couples, and then that will come later.
So good. I love doing this panel every year. Round of applause for the panel. I have a few minutes for questions from the floor. Does anyone have anything specific? Yep, go ahead. Just yell it out and then I'll repeat it.
Okay. So I'm always the person that always asks, how important is diversity on your list? Do you feel like diversity in the sense of how many people, the kind of couples you get, you want to match them with the right planner or the right vendor in whatever category, or is like, you know what, as long as your services are good, I don't care white, black, brown, or red. It doesn't matter to me.
Ooh, that was a good question. So she said diversity on the list. How important is having diversity across your list?
I don't give a shit what color you are.
And couples, a lot of times, if they book online, I don't know. I don't know. We're probably more vibe based. If I find a bubbly bride, I know what person to pair them up with. Or if I have somebody that's really logical and needs, X's and O's, it's more vibe. With my team, we're all very different personalities. We match basically by personality versus, I think, diversity.
Anybody else? No. I think COVID was such an interesting opportunity for many of the venues to diversify lists in general. I'll put myself on the ignorant cart for a hot second. I didn't realize before hiring Nicole to our team, who is bilingual and has been such an amazing addition, I never realized how many of you speak Spanish. Because you don't speak Spanish to me, because I'm like, hola, necesito cerveza, ¿dónde está baño? Like, high school Spanish will get me through Mexico, right? But like, I think that there's an entire potentially population that you're not servicing when a venue or a planner or even any of you in your vendor list, when you don't pay attention to the diversity on the list. And so if that's something you haven't looked at in terms of, I'll never forget the day our GM at Mission Inn was like, how come black people don't get married here? And I was like, we're in Howie in the Hills. Like, I wouldn't come here either. Like, there's this movie called Get Out. I'm not really sure you should watch it, right? Like, but I was like, if we never show a black couple getting married here, I didn't have any to show. So then we started doing photo shoots. And I did same-sex shoots and biracial couples and older couples. And I'm like, let me get the content to be able to showcase that everyone is welcome. And so I think that when you have that as a business and you've got that content or you're doing a styled shoot, ask the venue, what do you need? What photos don't come to me, in Howie in the Hills and say we're going to do a Superman downtown styled photo shoot. True story, right? Like, what do you need? What photos do you need? What can I set up? Maybe the venue's like, oh, I would love to showcase a ceremony in the round. It's trending. People keep asking me for it, and no one's ever done that before, right? So I think asking them what do they need in terms of content and style and look, but also in terms of diversity. Great question, Rebecca. I can take one more question. Anybody else got something? Yes. So I can. Let me do Amanda's, and I'll do the one in the back. Go ahead.
My question is for Alpha. Okay, so I have a lot of brides that will get ready at Alpha and need to go over to the garden or wherever they're going. Is that something you need a COI for?
Oh, that was a good question. If someone's getting ready at a hotel and you're the vendor there shooting, do they need to give the COI to the hotel if they're getting ready in a hotel room?
I don't know.
It's a great question.
Because I have a good number of brides that will get ready at Alpha and I'll go in and do hair and makeup, but we won't ever, yeah, work it out on brides. So I'm just curious, like, how is that?
I'm curious now too. I'll find out.
Good question. All right, we had one question in the back. Yeah, sure.
I'm a photographer and I really like to plan the timeline with my clients just because different people have different needs. And certain needs take a little bit more time than others. So I really enjoy making my timeline and then obviously, get it revised by a planner and venue. Is that something that you're like, why do it have to get on this, side of the planning for the couple? Or can I just, is that okay to do?
Might be my one that's like, if you're doing the legwork for me, love it. I'm all in. I'll just match your timeline. But less work I have to do, girl. I'm in.
I actually think it's great when vendors get involved if you do the second half of what you said, which is circling with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Or
just communicating. I really like when we get emails in advance, like, hey, I'm the photographer, just reaching out. This is the timeline I have. Is there anything you need to adjust? Just to open that line of communication if there would be something, that we know that maybe they want to do a last dance that for some reason they didn't tell you, that kind of thing.
To piggyback off of both of your questions, if you send a COI but you're not the photographer for a wedding there, I feel like that makes you stand out. You took it a step further than anybody else. So I would just do it. And if not, you guys are about to create more rules for her. Have to get all your COIs now. No, I'm just kidding. But then to have the timeline from a photographer in advance is amazing. I don't know that it always goes to the venue. Sometimes it does go to the planner, but the more that everybody's on the same page, our mistake could be called out beforehand. And to be honest, brides don't do timelines. And if you have day of coordination and the planner hasn't stepped in yet or hasn't been hired yet, and you are communicating with a photographer till that point, I've gotten 3 different ceremony times from one bride before because they don't remember what they put on their invite. And so I think just having those clear lines of touch points are super helpful.
Yeah, ultimately the big picture of this whole conversation, guys, is we're all a team on event day. And so anything you can do to be the great team member, the great partner to the venue, to be helpful and giving and give back, and we all have to work together for the success of these events. And so one last round of applause for our amazing panel.